Hi, my name is Doug Dornbus. I'm the owner of Cherry Capital Cab and Grand Traverse Limousine in Traverse City, Michigan. And today I would like to give input on the idea of outlawing taximeters in Traverse City. The outline of my couple minutes here today is one, how we got here, two, there really is another way, three, who wins and who loses, and I have some closing remarks. So let's review how we got here. I made a presentation to the subcommittee of the City Commission in January of 2012, wherein I asked for the city to eliminate the Traverse City taxicab license. You can view that presentation on YouTube by searching for 941 Taxi, and that presentation is almost essential to understand what I'm asking for today. At the time I made that presentation, I did not fully appreciate that a licensing loophole would exist if the local license was killed, but taximeters were still allowed. So I find myself today in the awkward predicament of having requested something and now needing to change my request, or feeling like I want to change my request a little bit. Like Tom Peters, the business guru, said, unintended consequences almost always outnumber intended consequences. So what I was asking for looked good on paper, but I didn't really see meters being outlawed as a possible consequence of my request. And so I feel like this guy, having started this row of dominoes tipping over, now I'm by the very last one, trying to keep it from falling. And that's where I'm at. So let's go back to my first presentation. Here's a slide where I asked for the taximeter loophole to be plugged by just requiring metered vehicles to have the state limousine license. I'd like to change that request today and change that suggestion by removing the actual suggestion and replacing it with plugging the taximeter loophole by simply waiving the city license for anyone who has a state limousine license and raising the price of the city license to the point where it will assure that everyone licenses through the state. Currently, the state charges $300 as a one-time application fee for its license, but then after that, the person can license for just $50 per vehicle per year. The city certainly could have some pricing scheme that would be more than that, and it would cause everyone just to sidestep or to use the state license instead. Um, Really, in my last presentation, I had a slide that was just listed benefits, and I'm going to put one of those benefits on each slide for the next couple slides, and just call them winners and losers. One of the benefits that comes from having only one license is that law enforcement gets less costly at the same time as it gets less cumbersome, and that would be true in this case too, because the police would no longer have to concern themselves with the method used to compute the passenger's fare. Um, if taximeters were outlawed, that wouldn't be true. Um, and Also, there would be no dispute about whether a phone app is a taximeter or not. The enforcement officers could just not be concerned with that. And then there would be no disputes about where the city limits are for vehicles that do still use meters outside the city limits. The city clerk's workload is still reduced. However, there would be this law on the books, this taxi cab license on the books. And really, the only reason it would be there would be as the holder of this phrase that waives the license requirement for anybody that has the state limousine license. Um, I really don't think it would take much updating, maybe every 5 or 6 years, if the state raised their price. The city might want to raise their price to stay more costly than the state license. The advantage to the clerk's office of doing it this way is that if the city ever felt like it wanted to reinstate its own license, it would already be there, or at least a version of it would be there for them to work off from, which might be kind of a safety net type of thing for the city in case they ever wanted to reinstate that. The riding public is still assured of a regulated and safe taxicab fleet, and with respect to the out-of-town visitors and tourists who expect taxis to have meters, they would still have that, and they could have whatever comfort comes from a method that they're used to being used as a way to compute their fare. And by not wiping out the taximeter business model, the riding public is assured of a greater variety of service competing for his or her business. As far as the competitive marketplace goes, all the transportation competitors would be on an equal playing field, and that includes the out-of-town taxis. For instance, Charlevoix, from Charlevoix, Petoskey, or St. Ignace. When they come to town, they would not have to worry about whether running their meters is in violation of our local code as they bring people to the airport, for instance. Thank you for including me in your discussion. I appreciate that. Appreciate living in a country where all the stakeholders and in a city where all the stakeholders have input on matters that concern them. Thank you.